Thank you, Madam Speaker. On September 1st of 1980, inflation was at almost 13%. On that day, then Governor Ronald Reagan said, "A recession is when your neighbor loses his job, a depression is when you lose yours, and a recovery is when Jimmy Carter loses his." Unfortunately, today is looking a lot like 1980, and the Carter and the Biden presidencies share far too much in common. President Biden has unnecessarily spent trillions of dollars, spiking inflation to a 40-year high of 8.6%. And as a result of this inflation, American households will pay an additional $7,620 as they buy gas, food, and other things over the next 12 months, $7,620 annually. Since Biden became president, real wages are down 4.2%, while mortgage rates have doubled, have gone up 2.4 points. Our economy shrank 1.4% last quarter, and many economists now agree that these signs point to an imminent recession. The president now points to the Federal Reserve to get him out of the inflation mess that he created. And today I'd like to point out what that may mean and talk about the challenge that the Fed faces to rein in inflation. I have a chart here with me that compares the federal funds rate, which is its benchmark interest rate, and inflation rates over the past 60 years. If you look at the chart, you'll see two lines on the graph showing inflation and the Fed rate. And each time that the Fed looked to reduce inflation, they increased the interest rate. And they've increased the interest rate each time above the current inflation rate. So, for example, in the early 80s, which I mentioned earlier, following President Carter's era of stagflation, the Fed raised rates to a record high of over 16.5% to reverse what was 13% inflation at that time. So once again, this would suggest that for the Fed to do its job and rein in inflation, it will need to increase interest rates above our current rate of inflation. So far this year, the Fed has raised the federal funds rate 3 times, most recently with a 0.75 or 3/4% increase, which is the highest increase since 1994. But the federal funds rate still only sits at between 1.5 and 1.75%. Current rates are 1.75%, and again, inflation is 8.6% and climbing. This suggests that the Fed has a long way to go in raising interest rates, has a lot of work to do ahead. What isn't shown in this chart, and sometimes I'm not sure that the Biden administration understands, are the consequences that come with raising rates. Our economy will slow down. It will be harder for Americans to start small businesses, to purchase homes. We're already seeing that happening. And the cost of living and hard times will come. The cost of living will increase, and Americans will see hard times. This did not have to happen. President Biden overinflated an already recovering economy by spending trillions on the American Rescue Plan, which included market-distorting policies that unnecessarily subsidized demand while restricting supplies by paying people to stay home. Now, as I said, the president is relying on the Fed to fix it, but unfortunately, it's the American people who will be paying the consequences. I yield back.